Such an interesting person to me. He's 26 years old and so talented, but we all understand all of the baggage. What should we take from the fact that he didn't get traded yesterday?
When I say he has no value, I don't even think that's accurate. I think he's got what they call in the league negative value. And what that means is teams were not willing to take Ja Morant unless the Grizzlies also attach draft compensation. In other words, you have to pay us to take him. And I know that this is a stunning thing for the Ja Morant fans out there. It's a stunning thing when I talk to his fellow NBA players about it because they know how talented he is.
For years, Ja Morant represented everything the modern NBA wanted to sell. Explosive athleticism, swagger, highlight reel dunks, a fearless attacking style that made Memphis feel relevant again. He wasn't just a star, he was a symbol of the Grizzlies' rise, the face of a small market team punching above its weight. But at this trade deadline, something uncomfortable became impossible to ignore. Ja Morant wasn't traded not because Memphis didn't try, but because the rest of the league didn't want to deal with it.
When you look at their contracts, right?
Do we know what the problem is over there?
You have
the asking price.
Yeah, you have Ja. See, the problem is you have Ja as a superstar that because he got in trouble and they paid him, he don't make that much money, right? He's not Supermax. So they want Supermax player back, but he doesn't have the Supermax tag on him, right? So the things they're getting back, they're like, nah, we don't want this. But financially,
that's the part fans struggle to accept. This wasn't about lack of talent. This wasn't about teams doubting whether Ja Morant can play basketball. This was about risk, reliability, and reality. And the reality is that Morant's name now carries more baggage than leverage.
I think that's what the problem is with Ja Morant. I think he needs some fresh air, as KG and Paul Pierce be saying. He needs some fresh air.
But where? Like where, if you could pick?
Minnesota. Minnesota. Now that you say that, that would be nice. But
Minnesota.
People keep talking like Ja Morant ain't just, I'm not big on, I don't do the trade engine and know if the contracts work and all that. But I know when a player will fit a mold. When they said Miami, he's gonna look great in Miami.
I agree.
That's great for him to be a part of some culture that don't let him do some of the random stuff.
According to multiple league insiders, teams around the NBA made their position clear behind closed doors. If Memphis wanted to move Ja Morant, they would have to attach draft compensation, not receive it, attach it. That's the kind of language usually reserved for aging contracts or fringe rotation players, not a former All-NBA guard in his mid-20s. One prominent voice even described Morant's value as negative, a brutal term that doesn't mean he's useless, but that the cost of dealing with everything around him outweighs the upside. And when you zoom out, it becomes clear why.
I'm trying to trade him. Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. And if you don't believe me, you can come in the office and sit with me.
The first issue is availability. Morant has not been consistently available for years. Injuries have limited him to short stretches, interrupted seasons, and constant recovery timelines. This season alone, he's appeared in just a fraction of games, making it nearly impossible for rival front offices to justify trading meaningful assets for someone they cannot reliably pencil into the lineup. In the NBA, the best ability is availability, and Morant simply hasn't provided that.
In terms of the decision to, I think, evaluate opportunities for all players, on our team, which obviously we consummated, a trade involving Jaren and Ja continues to be on this team, going forward. We evaluated the opportunity, trades take two teams. We evaluated the opportunities that were available to us at the deadline, and as we always have, we made the trades that we felt like were in the best interest of the organization going forward. The two trades that we did make at this deadline, we felt like they were in the best interest of the organization going forward. There were not other trades that were available at the deadline that we felt were in the best interest of the organization going forward.
With Ja, obviously, last year you said publicly, I'm not trading Ja. What changed, if anything, to get to the point where you would consider trade offers for him?
Yeah, we've been incredibly supportive of Ja for many years, and this is about organizational direction, though. This is not about Ja in particular. I understand, that Ja is Ja, and there's more attention, I guess, kind of paid to that. But all of this is grounded in organizational direction and building a team that we believe can achieve the highest levels of success in this league.
Then there's the history, the suspensions, the headlines, the repeated need for fresh starts. Fair or not, front offices don't operate on hope. They operate on patterns. And the pattern with Ja Morant has become volatility. Even teams that quietly expressed interest ultimately pulled back when discussions became serious. Nobody wanted to inherit the next problem, the next league investigation, the next off-court storyline that overshadows on-court production. And this is where perception becomes destiny. Ja Morant is still only 26. He still averages close to 20 points and 8 assists when he plays. He's still one of the most electrifying guards in basketball, but executives aren't paid to fall in love with highlights. They're paid to minimize downside. And Morant represents too much uncertainty at too high a financial cost. That contract matters. Morant is locked into a massive deal that runs for years, with future extensions looming. Any team acquiring him wouldn't just be betting on his health, they'd be betting on his maturity, stability, and ability to stay out of trouble. That's not a basketball gamble, that's an organizational gamble. And most teams simply said no. Meanwhile, Memphis finds itself stuck in the middle. The Grizzlies clearly signaled a rebuild by moving other core pieces and stockpiling draft picks. That move alone told the league everything it needed to know. The old timeline is over. Yet Morant remains, not because he fits the rebuild, but because there was no acceptable exit ramp. Trading him at a discount would have been an admission of failure. Keeping him preserves optionality, at least for now. Some within the organization believe time is their ally. Let Ja heal, let him play, let him rebuild value on the court instead of on rumor shows. If Morant strings together clean months of basketball, productive games, and quiet headlines, maybe the market changes. Maybe teams start to believe again. But that's a gamble too, because the longer this drags out, the more awkward the fit becomes. Memphis is clearly pivoting toward the future, toward flexibility, toward young players who can grow together without drama. Morant, meanwhile, exists in limbo. Too talented to bench, too risky to build around, too expensive to move cheaply. That's not where franchise stars are supposed to be. What's most striking is how quickly the league's tone shifted. Just a few years ago, Ja Morant was untouchable. Now, teams won't touch him without protection. That's how fast reputation can change in the NBA. Not because a player forgot how to play, but because trust evaporated. And trust is everything. Executives talk, agents talk, coaches talk. And when the same concerns surface again and again, injuries, reliability, distractions, the league listens. This deadline wasn't about Memphis mismanaging negotiations. It was about the NBA collectively deciding that Ja Morant, right now, is not worth the risk. That doesn't mean his career is over. Far from it. But it does mean the margin for error is gone. Morant no longer gets the benefit of the doubt. Every injury, every missed game, every off-court moment will be magnified. His path back to being that guy requires consistency, humility, and time. 3 things the NBA rarely grants generously. For Memphis, the decision to hold him may haunt them or save them. If Morant returns strong, stays healthy, and leads quietly, his value could rebound. If not, the Grizzlies risk being trapped with an asset that depreciates further while the rebuild accelerates without him. And for Ja Morant himself, this might be the most important stretch of his career, not because of points or highlights, but because perception has finally caught up to reality. The league is watching, teams are waiting, and patience is wearing thin. Ja Morant wasn't traded because no one believes in his talent. He wasn't traded because no one wanted to bet their future on the chaos that seems to follow him. And until that changes, he's staying right where he is. Not as the face of the NBA's next era, but as a cautionary reminder of how fast the league moves on when trust is broken.